I'll never forget the day I found myself sitting in that courtroom, watching a woman who thought the world revolved around her learn the hardest lesson of her life. I wasn't sure what to expect when I walked in, but what I saw was nothing short of a spectacle. Chloe sashayed into the courtroom like she was on the runway. Seriously, I couldn't make this up. Bright pink designer suit, oversized sunglasses perched on top of her head, and a tiny dog in a matching bag that probably cost more than my car. She clicked down the hall, each step echoing in the silent space. Her face wore the classic expression half bored, half annoyed, like this whole trial was a huge inconvenience. She leaned over to her assistant, rolling her eyes. "I can't believe I have to be here," she muttered. "All I did was drive a little fast. Everyone's making a big deal out of nothing." Her assistant, a nervous guy who probably didn't get paid enough for this, nodded. I couldn't help but wonder if he was used to this kind of dismissiveness, but he said nothing. No surprise there, Chloe was used to people bowing to her. Now, let's rewind a bit to the whole reason she was in this mess in the first place. A week ago, Chloe had been speeding through a quiet residential neighborhood in her shiny red sports car. She was in such a hurry that she didn't just ignore the speed limits, she nearly hit a child crossing the street. And to make things worse, she caused a minor collision with another car. But did she apologize? Nah. Instead, she screamed at the other driver for being in her way. Like what? Instead of showing any kind of remorse, Chloe said, "Daddy will pay whatever they want," and waved it off like she was ordering a cup of coffee. That's the kind of person she was. To her, everything could be bought. But Chloe wasn't prepared for what was coming. The sheriff knocked on her door that morning, handing her a thick yellow envelope. He looked a bit pale, and honestly, I couldn't blame him. I would have been just as uncomfortable. "You're being sued by the HOA," he told her. Chloe blinked, a smirk appearing on her face. "Sued?" she said, confused. "For what?" He cleared his throat, holding the papers. "For painting the American flag on your barn." Her expression went from confusion to amusement. She laughed like it was some sort of joke, but when she saw he wasn't smiling, her face dropped. Chloe lived on a ranch, not even a part of the HOA. In her mind, it had to be a mistake. "This can't be real," she whispered to herself, holding the papers like they were written in another language. Her arrogance couldn't have been more obvious as she walked into the courtroom late, of course. The whole place turned to look at her, probably wondering who this person was that thought they could just waltz in whenever they felt like it. And Chloe? She didn't care. She sat down with a dramatic sigh, pulled out her phone, and started scrolling, ignoring the people around her. Her lawyer tried to get her attention, whispering that she needed to take this seriously. But Chloe? She just waved him off. "Relax," she whispered back. "Daddy's got this." Like she could just buy her way out of any trouble. Judge Marcus, the man in charge, wasn't impressed. He'd dealt with people like Chloe Befarepri vy legged, entitled, and con vy, and said that money could fix anything. But this time, he wasn't going to let that slide. He observed Chloe with growing disapproval. "Miss Bennett," he said firmly, his voice echoing in the room. "Please show some respect." But Chloe wasn't hearing it. Instead, she stood up, smoothing her expensive designer skirt, and said, "Honestly, I don't even know why I'm here. It's not like anyone got hurt. Can't we just write a check and call it a day?" The room fell silent. People gasped. It wasn't just her disrespect, it was the fact that she thought this was all a game. Her lawyer buried his face in his hands, mortified. The judge didn't flinch. "This is a court of law, Miss Bennett," he said, voice cold. "Not a place to flaunt your privy leg. I suggest you take this seriously." But instead of backing down, Chloe doubled down. "Come on," she said with an exaggerated sigh. "Let's not act like this is a big deal. Honestly, shouldn't you understand your place? Isn't that your job?" The subtle racism in her words made the entire room tense. You could practically feel the collective discomfort. The judge, unimpressed, raised an eyebrow but didn't respond to her provocation. Instead, he continued with the details of the case. He wasn't letting Chloe get away with this one. I don't even know why we're wasting time here, Chloe muttered under her breath. But Judge Marcus wasn't done. Miss Bennett, reckless driving isn't a mistake. It's a choice, he said, his voice growing more serious. You endangered lives. Do you understand that? Chloe barely looked up, more focused on her nails than anything the judge was saying. Oh, I understand. But no one got hurt, so it's not that serious, is it? The room went silent, everyone holding their breath. But the judge didn't let her off the hook. You sped through a residential area at nearly twice the speed limit, he continued. You hit another car and nearly hit a pedestrian. This isn't a trivial matter. That's when it hit her. This wasn't a game. This wasn't something her father could just pay for. Her arrogant smirk faded as the judge continued. For your actions, you are hereby sentenced to pay a fine of due law 50,000. And you will complete 300 hours of community service focused on road safety education. Do you understand? Her jaw dropped. Do law 50,000? Are you kidding me? She exclaimed. But Judge Marcus wasn't playing around. Furthermore, you will serve 6 months in county jail, he said firmly. The room erupted into gasps. Chloe's eyes went wide with disbelief. 6 months in jail? But I can't. My dad will. Your father cannot buy your way out of this, Miss Bennett. Judge Marcus interrupted. This is about accountability, and you will learn that today. The courtroom grew silent, but the murmurs started. Chloe's lawyer was shaking his head, avoiding her gaze. Her world was falling apart. As Chloe started to panic, her usual arrogance started to crumble. This isn't fair, she sobbed, standing up and pacing. I didn't mean to hurt anyone. I just made a mistake. You can't send me to jail. I'm not a criminal. But the judge stood tall, unwavering. Your actions have consequences, Miss Bennett, and you will face them. Chloe's breakdown was heartbreaking. The once confident woman who strutted into that courtroom now sat broken, realizing that her wealth and privy leg couldn't save her from the consequences of her actions. After being sentenced, Chloe's life was turned upside down. Her days in jail were a harsh wake-up call. She couldn't avoid it anymore. She had to face the world without the cushion of her father's wealth. It wasn't easy for Chloe. At first, she hated everything about jail. The food, the uncomfortable accommodations, the unrelenting rule set all felt foreign to her. But as the days turned into weeks, she started seeing things differently. During her community service, Chloe met people who had struggled their whole lives. People who had never had the luxury of being bailed out by money. One day, while cleaning graffiti off a wall in a low-income neighborhood, she overheard a conversation about the dangers of reckless driving. The people spoke about how it affected their families, their children, and their peace of mind. Chloe finally understood. Her perspective began to change. She started writing letters of apology, real, heartfelt apologies. She spoke to students about the dangers of reckless driving, using her story as a lesson. By the time Chloe's sentence ended, she was no longer the entitled, arrogant woman who had walked into that courtroom. She was different, more humble, more aware of the struggles of others. When she left jail, she didn't wear designer clothes or shiny jewelry. Instead, she wore something simple. She had learned the hard way that no amount of money or status could shield her from the consequences of her actions. And so, Chloe's journey became more than just about a reckless driver getting sentenced. It became a story of growth, transformation, and accountability. Chloe's experience was a wake-up call, not just for her, but for everyone who might think they're above the law. Justice doesn't bend to wealth or privy leg. It serves all equally. Now, Chloe understood that actions have consequences, and those consequences can't always be erased with money. Her story became a lesson about the importance of responsibility, humility, and the true meaning of justice. As she stepped back into the world, Chloe vowed to do better, not just for herself, but for everyone she had hurt along the way. What do you think? Do you think Chloe truly learned her lesson? Or do you think her privy leg will always find a way back in? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever faced consequences for your actions? How did it change you? Let's talk about it.